Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Mark, aka the FPL General, to look ahead to double game week 25 and see how his plans are shaping up. Now we have a much clearer picture of who is doubling and also who blanks in game week 29 for our future plans. We'll look back at Mark's double game week 24 so far, very briefly do that. And we'll also look at the best players for the next 5 game weeks, whether you are free hitting in the blank or not. Welcome, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, Joe. Feeling pretty refreshed after a weekend without FPL. I completely switched off. I logged into FPL for the first time this morning, which is Monday. Seen an Anthony Gordon flag, which I had no idea about and still have no idea
Yep.
about. So hopefully that will become clear throughout the week. Yeah, it's odd because it's the start of a new week, but we still have this Liverpool Everton fixture to play out, and then we've got the double coming quickly afterwards. Friday deadline this week, so make sure people don't get caught out by that.
Indeed. Just before we go on, just remember, do press that like button, does help us out, and do leave us a review wherever you receive your podcast from, and do remember to subscribe, keep up to our latest content on video or podcast. Okay, I'll very briefly put your I say previous game week, it's your current game week. We've still got another match to go. You've got your assistant manager chip on slot. I'll sort of briefly do this because we looked at this last week. So, it's a very long preparation for the game week, but we'll look at a few more different things this week. But the main change here is that you've gone up to 96 points. You were on 90 points, you've got up 96. Palmer played. Nice 6 points there. But he was badly schooled by the mighty Brighton at the weekend. Badly. So what are you hopeful for from Alexander Arnold, Mohamed Salah is your captain, Slot, and Pickford and Mikalenko? What are you hoping for ahead of Wednesday's match between them?
I haven't even thought about what I wanted. It's a bit of a disaster having so many players facing each other. I think the main thing is I'd like Trent to play. That would be nice. Um, to do with Salah being quiet, given that I'm not on triple captain, he's already done some damage in the first game. I think I'd probably be better off if somehow, yeah, the Everton guys clean sheets probably would be fine. But yeah, I've got my assistant manager on slot, so basically I have no idea. I have no idea. I'll watch the game and I'll
Yeah.
I'll see how it affects the rank afterwards, whatever happens. But yeah, it's got. I think I'm on a 10k green arrow so far, so hopefully that can improve as well on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think you're okay because you've got Slot and Salah and Alexander Arnold and Mikalenko and Pickford. To say Everton somehow win 1-0 or something, you're still okay. Say Liverpool win, you're still okay. Whereas I've got Pickford, Mikalenko, and David Moyes, so I'm fully Evertonian. I don't want Liverpool to do anything, even though I've got Gakpo and Alexander Arnold and Mohamed Salah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
strange game week.
definitely. Okay, and just a reminder, just what happened during the week for you. You got really good return for Chris Wood, obviously 17 points. A few people got rid of him actually. I might even have to bench him this week, but we know how badly that goes. So he was the main one for you there, and Pickford's 9 points, very strong, and Slot getting you 10 points in your debut assistant manager chip. Have you
Yeah.
found the chip so far?
It's the debut use of the chip, and I hope it's the last time I ever use the chip as well. I'm not a fan.
No.
Not a fan. I think it adds too much variance. It's too powerful. But if it goes well, I'll be saying it's the best chip
Yeah.
ever.
I think, I mean, looking at it, look at the gameplay of the assistant manager's chip, because I mean, I've gone for Moyes, you've gone for Slot, and ordinarily I would have gone for Slot, but I was tripled up. But there's too many things with the assistant manager's chip that you can't do. You can't use another chip. You're restricted to only 3 players. You've got to borrow the money from elsewhere. It costs another transfer. It's just too many rules associated with it. It's not simple, and that's what's been good about FPL is the simplicity. Having said that, I was very excited to play it on Moyes, and let's see what happens. If he wins, that would be extraordinary. But yeah, it's the variance. I think it's good for the risk and reward. If you take those risks, the rewards can be huge, or you can get nothing. So Moyes for me, Moyes' Everton beats Liverpool. Wow, and that you sort of deserve the reward for that, for taking that gamble. But there's a risk as well, and I'm fully anticipating getting 0 from him for that. But
Yeah, yeah. again, if it was to stay, I would like to see maybe just a few changes. Like you said,
Oh,
let us have three players and a manager. Let us go all in for one game week.
yeah.
And yeah, make it so. Yeah, I know it's hard for them probably with the money side of things, but yeah, if they could just make it a little bit easier to use,
Yeah.
and I would probably lower the points that you get
The,
for it as well, just to make it a
yeah.
little bit less powerful,
Yeah.
and then I'd probably be able to get on board with it. But yeah, I'm not a fan in the current format, but let's see what they do in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not. Yeah, I'm same as you there. I don't like the current format, too complicated, but I don't see a problem with it, and it does add to the game. I think maybe the things they could revise, the 3 week thing, just have it for 1 week. Just have it for
Yeah.
1 week. Just add in just a bit of extra points for that 1 week.
Yeah, even as someone who's a content creator and spends a lot of time on the
Mm,
FPL website, when I went to activate it, I had a panic attack. I pressed activate and then it said pending, and there was no sign of,
yeah,
didn't give you an option to pick a
yeah,
manager. I'd actually jump over to the transfers page then, so I can
yeah,
only imagine what it's like for people who don't, spend as much time on
yeah,
the game as us. So they need to make it simpler to
yeah.
activate as well.
And also the 5 places thing means that you can't really use it in the first game week because Man City might lose the first game and they'll be bottom and they'll be playing like Ipswich who are top, and then maybe they win the first game. So that you can't have that. So you have to have it in the second half of the season. But I'm a bit unsure about the 5 places. Is it five exactly between the places, or does that
I have no
include?
idea. No idea.
Because at the moment, say for example, in game week, I think it's 26. If I wanted to keep it on Emery against Chelsea, I think there's currently a 4 point place gap, but I don't know whether it's 5 places or four. Is it in between the two teams or including them? That's what I mean. And
That's the issue. There's no clarity.
we've been playing it for 16 years and we're talking about it like this. And I'm boring myself talking about it. It's like,
I think that's a sign that
business meeting.
I feel like we're getting close to FPL retirement. People are watching us thinking, "Come on, lads, it's not that
Yeah.
difficult."
It is though. It is. Yeah. Anyway, hope they bring it back better next season. Okay, let's have a look at the fixtures because we've got a bit of clarity here. So I mean, we have got clarity on double game weeks and blank game weeks. So we know that it's just Liverpool and Aston Villa are going to double in 25. That's very handy because Liverpool are just back of a double. And it's good for Aston Villa as well. They've got the chance of beating Liverpool. Plymouth have done it. And they've also got a home game against Ipswich. Meanwhile, we have clarity in game week 29. Liverpool will blank. Aston Villa will blank. But also Crystal Palace and Newcastle will blank. And they are not doubling this time because they're not in Europe. So we can the powers that be can move their fixture a bit later in the season. Liverpool and Aston Villa, because they're in Europe, there's a bit of a pressure to just get that game done, get it over with there. So we've got a little bit of clarity there. Things to consider. Free hit in 29 or not to free hit in 29. And then also we've had some FA Cup changes as well. So, for example, it was widely thought that Liverpool would get past Plymouth. They won't. So, and their opponent in game week 34, how does it work out? They were to get a blank game week if they were going to proceed because their opponent was Spurs. I hope this makes sense, people. In game
Don't
week
ask me. Don't
34,
ask me to help you with this.
in game week 34, they play Spurs, who also knocked out of the cup, less embarrassingly, against Aston Villa. So that means that goes ahead. That's a guaranteed fixture there. So it also means there probably won't be a double. Could be, but there won't be a double game week 33 for them. So we have a little bit of clarity there. It's not a sort of a Liverpool type time for chips. And game week 29, as I said, you can use your free hit or not. Just going without Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Newcastle. York, I'm not going to free hit them because I'm not too loaded up on those players, and any of them there I'm quite happy to remove. Well, some of them, not Salah, obviously. But for yourself, what's your early thoughts there, looking at your team about free hit or not to free hit in 29?
Yeah, I've always kind of thought the last couple of weeks that there's a very good chance that I will need to free hit, or that I'm very open to doing it because I have, a few Liverpool guys. I've got Gordon and ISAK. I brought in Konsa, which probably was a disaster because it looks like he's injured now, but I'll probably buy at least one Aston Villa player this week as well. And I'm not going to not do
Mm,
that just because there's a blank in 29. So I've taken the approach that I want to play the 4 game weeks before game week 29 as well as possible
mm,
and, focus on them rather than just buying players because they have a fixture in 29 because many of us have experiences of doing that, and you get a player in who gets 2 points in game week 29, and you miss out on a good asset who performs well in the
mm.
meantime. So I'm very open to free hits.
Okay.
I think looking at my team, it's definitely an option. And then it would just be a matter of, navigating the rest of the season with the wild cards and the bench boost as well later. So yeah, I'm just taking a kind of a laid back approach about it. I'm not stressing over 29. I don't really know too much about what's happening post game week 30 because I know my wild card's there and I'll just figure things out when the time comes. So yeah, again, I've got Gordon and Isak. They've got Man
Mm,
City next, they've got Forest, they've got Liverpool, but I really like Gordon and Isak regardless of fixtures. So
mm.
I'm maybe less reluctant to sell them than
Okay.
others, which again pushes me towards, free hit 29 possibly.
Yeah, so I mean, at the moment you've got around, I think it's 7 players that are missing, so that's quite a lot. But we do have, even if you don't have any transfers in the bank, we've got three to four transfers you can use, and a hit as well. So that's easily doable. You can easily do that. But as you said, it's the quality of the players, not so much the quantity. You want to keep the likes of Isak and Gordon. You don't want to transfer them out. Especially, I mean, looking at Newcastle, they play Brentford at home, game week 30. So you're going to want to sort of keep hold of them. But if they blank in 29, it would be quite useful to use the free hit then. So I can totally see that as well. And it's also the transfers you make now. So luckily, Bournemouth and Brentford both play in 29 and they're the top of the fixture ticker, so you can just steam into them anyway, irrespective of your strategy. But looking down, some of these other teams like Crystal Palace, for example, they got Everton at home, then they got Fulham, Aston Villa and Ipswich. It's a good run of fixtures, really, and before they blank in 29. So if you're going to free hit in 29, yeah, I mean, you've got Saar already. You might, if you want to bring Mateta in, you can. If I do, I've got to think, oh, that's a potential transfer down the line as well. So yeah, there's a bit to consider.
Yeah, and a couple of other points, just team specific. I've only got one free transfer, so that plays a part. If I had 4 or 5, I'd probably look into swerve free hit 29 and just use quite a few of those in the meantime. I've got no money in the bank either. I think I've got zero point 0.3. And I think what will end up happening is I'll probably get to a scenario, which I feel like happens to me most seasons. It'll be a decision of do I just play with 8 or 9 with a good captain and keep the free hit for later or just pull the trigger. So it's probably one I won't be able to decide on until a little bit
Okay.
closer.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's have a look at a list of players I've got here. So this forwards on to what we're thinking about whether you're free hitting or not in 29. I mean, the immediate 25, you've got a double game week for Aston Villa. So people are looking at their players. I haven't included Liverpool in here because I think that most people are loaded up. They've got their Liverpool. They've got that in sort for game week 24. I don't think many people. There is the argument, say, for example, Alexander Arnold's out. Do you go for Kanate or just not go for Liverpool or Van Dijk, for example? But I wanted to do the best players from the best fixture teams from game week 25 to 30, irrespective of your strategy. So I don't want to miss anyone out. So I flagged up in blue for those listening. Can't see that. I flagged them up in blue. Those that are actually going to miss game week 29 as well. So that includes Watkins and Rodgers from Aston Villa, the Crystal Palace players, and of course Salah from Liverpool will miss those fixtures there. So they're the ones in blue to just be aware that they miss game week 29. So going down that list, I've got Havertz top. So I've from Arsenal. Now, Arsenal are an intriguing side. I think Havertz is quite a strong candidate. He's got Leicester away. Then he's got West Ham at home. Nottingham Forest is tough. And then Manchester United. And then he plays Everton in 29. So he plays in 29 and he has a strong fixture. There's no Saka. I just think in terms of Arsenal, apart from, a defender, I mean, are you tempted? I mean, if free hitting or not, he's quite a good player to get in over this period.
Yeah, I've liked what I've seen of him in the last couple of weeks. He's rejoined my watch list over the last week or two. I thought they might sign a striker. There was lots of links to Watkins, etc. And now that that hasn't happened, then Havertz looks good FPL wise for the rest of the season. And yeah, it looks like a good entry point this week with Leicester. But the issue is if Watkins is fit, or if
Okay.
those who don't have Gakpo, they're always going to go for a double game weeker over
Yeah.
Havertz, I think. But if you look longer term, and if you see this as a long term transfer, and for example, if you were not going to free hit in 29, you can get the same amount of fixtures from a Havertz as you can
Yeah.
a double game weeker this week. So certainly one to monitor, keep an eye on. I think he's a viable option. I think what puts me off is probably the price. He is pricey, and it's quite hard. A lot of people, most people probably don't have a huge amount of cash lying around, or maybe not in the not don't have a desire maybe to move midfield cash to a forward position unless it's a double game worker. So I don't think he'll be in too many teams, which again is differential territory for people who need it. So I do like him, and I'm not surprised to see him top of some of these tables.
Yeah, I mean he is past the top because I've done it alphabetically as well because Arsenal are top. But also his minutes per expected goal involvement would put him nearest the top anyway. Every 166 minutes, 12 attacking returns so far. As you said, ownership low. Will get even lower perhaps because people turn to the doubles. He's in 7.9% of teams. That's overall. An option there. Next to Watkins and Rogers. Rogers already in my team. He would be the one I would recommend getting in for value. He seems to be popping up with huge returns when we don't want his huge returns in the Champions League or the FA Cup. He's in a quarter of teams. He's only 5.6. He's got 11 attacking returns. Minutes per expected goal involvement, not huge, every 277 minutes. He's pretty much nailed on. He's the most nailed on attacker for Villa. And I'll mention Watkins as well because he's injured at the moment. Didn't play at the weekend. He's only in 16.4% teams. If we get the nod, we start seeing pictures of him in training. The move from ISAK to Watkins or another striker to Watkins, the temptation will be huge. What are your current thoughts? You don't have either in your team, and I would imagine you'd want one at least.
Yeah, I think the easiest transfer I'll make all season is Sarr to Rodgers this week. That's always been the plan. As long as Villa got the double, I was going to make that move, and that is the plan. Haven't made it yet. I'll just wait till the end of the week. There's no issues with price changes or anything on that one. So Sarr to Rodgers is going to be my one free transfer, and then the temptation will kick in after that because it's going to be -4s for anything else. And as much as I love ISAK, I think when it gets to Friday, if there's good news on Watkins, there will be a massive Watkins bandwagon.
Yeah.
And when you look, you can definitely talk yourself into Isak out because it's City, it's Forest, it's Liverpool. Now, I really like the City fixture for Isak, given what City have been like defensively this season. But certainly Forest and Liverpool are good defensive sides.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find it very hard to lose Isak, especially when you're throwing a -4. But I do like Watkins as well. And I can see myself, being pushed over the ledge and being dragged by the crowd and taking a -4 and getting a double game week player because it's very hard to resist double game week players. It's fun. It's fun. At least before the game week starts, it's fun. So I'm open to a -4 on Watkins from Isak, but very much dependent on a concrete, update on fitness. Certainly helps that Duran is out of the picture now. I would have had, less desire to do it if Duran was still there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to just stick with Rodgers because I'm probably going to get Emery for my assistant manager. So that's enough filler for me. Also with Watkins at the moment. So this brings me on to the Bournemouth midfielders who are next. We've got Cliver, Utara, and Semenyo. Currently, I have Utara on my bench. I have to bench one of Isak, Chris Wood, Brian Mbomo, or Utara.
More bench points for Joe.
I mean, there is no answer you can give. There's no answer I can give because I will get bench points. I've just got to get lucky and assume and hope one of them blanks. But
yeah. But I mean, it's always a good problem to have. You've got a good squad.
But so Utara, very strong, 5 million. very cheap, 10 attacking returns. Cliver, very strong, 5.9. I think his wife is due to have a baby soon, or has just had. I'm relying on our resident Bournemouth friend, Andy Martin, will probably nip down to the maternity wing and loiter in the
And he'll
corridor.
probably be dressing up as a midwife and
I
making
think,
his way in.
yeah, I think he will. But carry on. But and Semenyo 5.6. He's got 11 attacking returns. They're all good. I think there will be talk of which one is the best. I think Cliver is on penalties. Utara is great for value. Semenyo is great for just sheer shot volume. 66 shots inside the box this season. Not bad, considering Utara's had 29. Havertz had 46. Watkins, 56. Semenyo is absolute shot monster. Salah, I think he's the only one in our list, is Salah with 83 shots inside the box there. So, yeah, there's... do you have any? You don't have any of these in your team. So are you going to be thinking about getting them in as well? I mean, not necessarily this week for the double, but gearing up. They've got really strong fixtures. 26 Wolves, then they got Brighton, then they got Tottenham, then they got Brentford in 29, and then Ipswich. One of them's going to be in free hit teams anyway.
Yeah, the double game week, the unexpected double game week 25 was a little bit annoying because I was very much eyeing up getting not just one Bournemouth midfielder, but maybe two. And it's probably going to be another week now before I go there, unless there is an issue with Anthony Gordon that needs to be dealt with, and then it would be a -4 to lose him for a Bournemouth midfielder, which I wouldn't be against because the fixtures are great and they play into my they might help me to avoid a free hit in 29 if I go that way. I've always been for the last 3 or 4 weeks, Clivert number 1, Semenyo number 2, Dango number 3. I think it's very close between Semenyo and Dango for me now.
I think it is,
but
yeah.
still for me, it's Clivert number 1. The way he's been playing this season and penalties and everything else. So even though I'm pretty set on Sarr to Rodgers this week, I think you can make quite a strong argument to get Clivert over Rodgers this week for the long term, and probably outscores him. So I'm not going to rule it out, but I think I'm always going to fall on the side of the double game wicker, even though one of the games is Liverpool.
It's away to Southampton, Bournemouth in game week 25.
It's a good entry point,
So Utara's coming on my bench, but I'm going to move him back into it because I just can't. I mean, Southampton are that bad. So I actually think I might bench ISAK or Brian Bomo. I don't know.
Well,
anyway,
at least
that's for later.
the comfort is that if you need to bench ISAK, you'll see a lot of people selling them, so it won't hurt as much.
Just also on Bournemouth, Kirkes is about to go up in price tonight. I think according to a lot of the websites, we're recording this on Monday. Howson as well, someone I've been talking up quite a lot. I think I'm fielding him this week even. He's got 2 goals already this season. So I think both of them are very, very strong options. Once again, neither in your team. You have no... I mean, Bournemouth defenders, Kirkes or Howson, are really good value and they've got strong fixtures. So once again, is he one of them in your long-term plans, sort of game week 25, 30 fixtures? Yeah,
they might be now, especially if Conce is going to be out for a wee while. I will probably end up making a defensive transfer at some point. Castagna and Mikalenko might get me through along with Trent and Gabriel, as long as Trent is okay. But if I was to move away from a Conce, then Bournemouth is probably the first place I will looking at the fixture ticker.
You might go to Brentford as well, weirdly, for a defender. But so Brentford next got
no chance.
Well, you say that. When I do the video with Tom Freeman, he's had Collins in his team for ages, and he's one of the many reasons why he gets higher score than me each week. But one of them is he gets 7 or 8 points from a Collins goal every other week. And so, yeah, he's had 2 goals and 5 assists. Who knew that Collins was the most creative player at Brentford? See, this is a surprise, isn't it? I mean, I only know this because Tom's one of the few people, one of the 2.1% of people that's got him in his team. 4.5, 7 attacking returns. He's actually a really strong option to go for.
He's been overperforming, absolutely overperforming this season. Come on, it's It's a Brentford centre back. He is good, obviously. He's a threat when he goes
Yeah.
up from set pieces, but clean sheets have to be part of it for
Yeah.
me if I'm getting
Okay.
especially a centre back. And Brentford are probably, apart from the promoted teams, the team I have maybe the least faith in
Yeah.
for clean sheets this season. Um, Especially on their backup goalkeeper at the moment as well, who I have on my bench. So there's no chance I will go for a Brentford defender over a Bournemouth defender.
No. So we'll leave Tom for all his points there.
Let Tom enjoy his eight
Yeah.
pointers.
Yeah. So and Bomo and Wissa. Brian Bomo is he is in your team. Are you tempted to double up? And also, what message would you give to those that don't have Brian and Bomo? West Ham away, Leicester away, Everton at home, Aston Villa plays Bournemouth in game week 29, and then he's got Newcastle in game week 30. So it's an okay bunch of fixtures. Is he actually a definite sort of, say, not essential? Is he as near as we can say to essential as without saying the word?
Yeah, because he's just he's kind of a dream FPL asset. He's got loads of routes to points, scoring loads of goals this season, and he's got the fixtures. So I'd say most people won't go there this week because they'll focus on double game week players instead, which is understandable. But certainly you'd want to be eyeing him up game week 26 for the Leicester game if you don't have him. He's going
Yeah.
to be very highly owned for that one. Some Mavericks out there will even captain him against Leicester. And then Everton at home after is fine. Villa at home as well doesn't, they've got no fit defenders at the moment. And then maybe gets a little bit trickier, 29 and 30, but has a game in 29 as well. So yeah, Brian Boom, if you don't have him, certainly, if not this week, then game week 26 against Leicester, I'd be making plans for him.
Yeah. Just for the sake of those listening to the podcast version, his minutes per expected goal involvement is every 160 minutes. For Wissa, it's 137 minutes. He's very strong. He's got 13 attacking returns, including 11 goals. That's Wissa, that is. Brian Bomo, 14 goals. He's on pens as well. 3 assists. I can't bench him.
I know,
Anyway,
no. Again, just on the double up, I do like it. I do like Wessa Bumo. We don't gain a huge amount from Brennan Bumo because he is highly owned, and I always say it when it gets to high ownership, I look to double up on the attackers. So I think it looks good to have Brennan Bumo and Wessa for Leicester away, Everton home, Villa home. That 3 game run looks good to me. So
yeah.
if you have Wessa, you certainly hold on to him, and you could look to bring him in as well.
Now, the next team, Crystal Palace. Now, I have Henderson in goal. Quite happy to play him because I've got another goalkeeper for 29. Not free hitting then. But I am being put off getting Munoz or Mateta in because I'm going to free hit. I'm not going to free hit in 29. So there, I feel I could miss out because Crystal Palace, not only do they have Everton at home, but they got Fulham, Aston Villa, and as I said, Ipswich as well in game week 28. It's a very strong, and do you know what? In game week 30, they got Southampton as well. So you can easily get them in now, free hit them out in 29. So Mateta's very strong, 11 attacking returns, strong minutes per expected goal involvement. As you said, Collins is overperforming, and indeed the stats say that. His minutes per expected goal involvement every 644 minutes. A much better bet is Mateta, 165 minutes there. I know he's an attacker and unfair to compare him to Collins. But nevertheless, strong, and in particular strong recently. Munoz as well, he's looked good all season. His minutes per expected goal involvement much stronger, even though 344 minutes, much stronger for a defender, and he has got 6 attacking returns. I think they're good as well. I mean, we're spoiled for these cheap defenders, but Mateta as well, he's good price as well, especially for say Gakpo owners maybe want to move him on.
Yeah, big fan of Mateta and what he's been doing in recent game weeks. We have, a decent sample size of Mateta in the Premier League now. He was good tail end of last season as well. And this is what I like about the strategy at this point of the season. I'm not just thinking about what I want to do and what I'm going to do. I'm thinking, what are others not going to do? For example, Joe is not going to buy Mateta, unlikely,
Yeah,
because of
there's your
blank
chance.
game 29. So there's opportunity when one set of managers go one path and we can go other routes. So it's good to think about that now for the rest of the season. What will others not do, and where's the opportunity there? So Mateta is very attractive. Maybe not as easy for me because I'm 352. I've got Chris Wood, I've got ISAK. tempted by Watkins, but I could go Watkins this week, and then he becomes Mateta maybe later. So that's an option. But I'd probably like to get Mateta soon to try and capitalize
Yeah.
on those others who are not going to go there. And Munoz is one that's it's frustrating me not to own him. I had him at the start of the season, which didn't go too well. I just haven't had an opportunity to get back to him. That assist in the most recent game week just drilled it home for me. It's a 90th minute. He's the furthest player forward, and he's squaring a pass.
Wow.
Or I think it was Mateta to score. He's an absolute monster when it comes to energy, and you know, arguably the best attacking fullback in the league. Spends so much time in the final third, and when the fixtures are good, I think we should probably all own him. But it's never as straightforward as that when you've got other things to focus on. So yeah, Mateta and Munoz certainly two quite high on my wanted list.
I've included Mohamed Salah here from Liverpool. I did say I wasn't including any Liverpool players. I've included him not necessarily for a player. Oh, do get him in. Everyone's got him in anyway. And those who haven't, there's a reason for that. But I've got him in here because of Game Week 29. So players, if you're free hitting, that's nice and easy because Salah's cash, he's 13.7. You can use that free hit money to perhaps invest in, say, Haaland, who's at home to Brighton, who could be a good captaincy shout that week. But you can certainly spread his money around, especially if you want to. You could go fully into Man City. You could go for Foden as well. So you definitely do that. So that's another sort of pro of using the free hit there. So those like me who aren't going to be, I'm going to just bench him, and I feel there's enough cheaper options that week. But I know that there will be some players tempted to move him on. They may be thinking, oh, I'm going wildcard in game week 30, 31. I'll just get him back in. But you will lose a bit of value on that. And so I just think that, what's your sort of opinion on Salah for those perhaps who aren't going to use a free hit in 29, who might be tempted to remove him?
Yeah, it's just get through it with him on the bench, I think, is the easiest answer. And you do make a good point that a lot of people who still have a wild card will be looking at 30 or 31, but just be very careful with the value because, it's Everton at home in Game Week 30 for Salah. You're going to want them for that one.
Yeah.
So, be very careful about selling them. And the best advice is probably just hold on to him and just bench him that week.
Yeah, he's a non-negotiable for me. I mean, anyone else I'm quite happy to get rid of. But Salah, no, I've got that value tied up in him, and I just don't want to mess around. But when you got we've been here before. When you got players like Salah with 13.7, you definitely want them. You don't want to mess around with like, I'll find a way to get him back in because FPL will bite you on the bum, and you won't know what that best laid plan to get Salah back in. Suddenly you've got masses of fires to fight.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. I paid 12.7. He's now 13.7. Big difference.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I'm the same as you. Right, Manchester United are interesting. Fernandes and Diallo, I think, are the only two worth considering. Fernandes, minutes per expected goal involvement every 155 minutes. Ahmed Diallo, every 210 minutes. Diallo's got 13 attacking returns. Is that right? Yeah, 13 attacking returns. Fernandes, 12. The reason they're here is because Manchester United actually have all right fixtures for attackers. They've got Tottenham in game week 25. Then they've got Everton away, Ipswich at home, Arsenal's tough in 28. Then they've got, this is the key, Leicester away. Leicester, the absolute team to go for, to target. Even Everton can score an absolute hatful against them. Even my team Brighton did, even though it was a draw. We still scored a couple past them. So I think Manchester United's Fernandes could be a captaincy shout in game week 29, especially for those free hitting. But you can get him in now. I've actually got my eye on Diallo to get in. I think I might remove Rodgers in 29 and get Diallo in. It's nice fit. I really like them for that fixture, Leicester.
I think every fixture should be red for Manchester United at the moment. This Manchester United
Not Leicester,
team,
surely.
well, maybe not Leicester, but even Everton away, Ipswich away. Years ago in the good old days, we'd be thinking 3 or 4-0 away victories, no problem. But it's a mess. Manchester United is a total mess.
Yeah.
And the only one that interests me is Ahmad because of his price. He's super cheap, and he has been a shining light in a dreadful season. He keeps he keeps playing well. He keeps passing the eye test for me. We know Bruno always has the routes to points. He'll always put in 100% on the pitch, but I find it very hard to pay the money for him over Ahmad. So
Yeah.
again, I'm just looking at this kind of early thoughts on a possible free hit 29. It could be fairly spicy. You can get Bruno and Ahmad double up against Leicester. You could get a Haaland, maybe a Marmoush or something like that against Brighton. So I think
Yeah.
the free hit 29 looks quite fun actually. You could go pretty heavy on Bournemouth,
Yeah.
You could go triple Bournemouth for the Brentford game. So yeah, I'm certainly yeah, and Wolves play Southampton. So, Cunha's another one.
West Ham just got Bowen here. Right, they've got Ferguson on loan. He's intriguing. I like to see how he does there though, but he is cheap. Could do well, but at the moment Bowen's the main attacking threat there. Got 12 attacking returns, minutes per expected goal involvement every 180 minutes. This just this season. This is all matches this season, but we've got many seasons. He's just got pedigree. He's FPL royalty really, and fairly reliable even when West Ham haven't been good. But their fixtures are really good. They got Brentford at home this time round. Then they got Arsenal away. That's tricky. Then they got that Leicester game. Leicester at home 27, Newcastle at home 28. They play in 29, and he's got Everton away, and then Wolves away in 30. So it's a strong run of fixtures. I think this is Bowen time. If not going for 25, 26, I think he's a strong candidate. 7.3 is an okay price as well.
Yeah, I think Bowen, when he's fit, is always one of the best differentials in FPL. He's a steady Eddie. You know exactly what you're going to get from him now. Um, a team that are possibly on the up as well under new management. And yeah, I think the addition of Ferguson will also be good for Bowen because I much prefer Bowen playing off the right
Yeah.
with a target man that he can play off, and Ferguson is good at that. And I'm very interested in Ferguson himself. I think at 5.5, I think if he stays injury free, there'll be a Ferguson bandwagon at some point
Yeah.
before the end of the season because we know the quality is there, and hopefully this loan move does him the world of good, and he scores loads of goals. So yeah, Bowen certainly an option, and definitely keeping a close eye on Ferguson.
Yeah, I think it was around about this. No, it wasn't this time last season. Doing a video with you, and I had Ferguson in for his hat trick, which is
That's right.
the biggest stroke of variance luck I've ever had in FPL, because he was barely in 1% of teams.
You got a hat trick of 59th minute appearances last season too. The only player to
Oh
do
yeah,
so.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's a hat trick. I'll probably owned him for that as well. Final name on the list is a player that I am probably bringing in for 10.29, and I may even captain him. He's away to Southampton. It's Cunha. He's back. He's signed a new contract. He does have Liverpool away in 25, but then he's got Bournemouth away. That's tough. Then Fulham, Everton, Southampton game in 29, West Ham in game week 30. It's a strong run of fixtures. Wolves have looked much better in recent years. I mean, I only got rid of him because of his ban and the fixtures were so bad, but the fixtures are turning after 25. Yeah, I'm going to get him in for 29 somehow,
Yeah.
either before.
I don't want to go the rest of the season without bringing him back. He was absolutely sensational for us when we got rid
Oh,
of
yeah.
Haaland, and bringing Salah in along with him. So and I fully expect him to leave in January too. So it's good that we can still use him FPL wise for the rest of the season. I'm looking at 27 to 30 for Cunha.
Yeah.
Fulham home, Everton home,
Yeah.
Southampton away, and West Ham at home. And certainly anyone who free hits in 29 is definitely going to have Cunha.
Yeah.
Just a question of how many other Wolves players you have. So yeah, back on the radar and hopefully back in the team soon as well.
Yes, exactly. At some point in those that game week run that you mentioned, I'll go for him. Okay, let's finish off by just having a look at your team for a game week 25, the double. So obviously this picture is before the flags have been added, many flags, and also before the doubles have been added. But we know that Liverpool and Aston Villa double there. So do you want to just run through your team and what your decisions are?
Yeah, one free transfer available, 0.3 in the bank. Current team, Pickford, Trent, Konsa, and Gabriel. So flags on Trent and Konsa. I think Trent will be okay by the time double gaming 25 rolls around. Konsa, more concerning that the early signs don't sound good there, and
No.
that's annoying because I brought in a centre back for safety for a double game week, and now I'm not going to be able to use him, but That's FPL. Midfield, Sarr, who will probably become Rodgers with the free transfer. Salah, Brendan Boomel, Palmer, Gordon, Isak, and Chris Wood. So I'm open to hits for the Newcastle guys if I feel like it's right. Watkins is on my mind. The Bournemouth midfielders are still on my mind as well if Gordon has an issue. And I've got slot. I'm glad Liverpool have the double because I banked on them having back-to-back doubles, so I don't have to use a transfer on slot this week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably get 4 games out of him, and then possibly look to switch him.
Okay.
Just take a gamble on somebody for the table bonus in that third week of the assistant managership. I haven't thought about who it is yet.
Okay.
But I'll just cross that bridge when it comes. And then on the bench, Castagna. So if Conce is out, I'll probably just play Castagna home to Forest. And I've got Michaelenko and Chiuomi there as well.
Yeah, I think that's strong. As ever, I covet your Chiuomi. I'm sitting here wondering, counting my Chris Wood bench points or whoever gets the bench, and you happily with Chiuomi, stress free. Yeah, in game week 26. I haven't got the table to hand, but I mean the real Hail Mary one is Van Nistelrooy against Brentford. But that would be just be a Hail Mary. That'll be the Holy Ghost and the whole gang. That would be. I don't think there's many others that particularly appeal to me, to be honest. I might just stick with Emery and hope there's some kind of 5-place gap. It's tight against Chelsea. Aston Villa can easily beat Chelsea, but it's whether there's a 5-place gap. I'm not sure there will be.
And I'm open to keeping slot because I will only have one free transfer and I'll probably want to do something else anyway. So I just, maybe back Liverpool to beat City and just take whatever I get from that.
A more realistic Hail Mary move would be McKenna for Ipswich against Tottenham. And that is 5 places. And they've, actually, the more I look at that, the more I'm tempted by that as well. That would be the big one. But it would be out of character for, I think, either of us to do that.
There could be a new manager bounce at Spurs by then. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that would be. But you never know. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. Hopefully that's given some of you listening and watching some ideas of transfers to get in, whether you're free hitting or not, and also whether you're thinking of what chips you want to use as well. So hopefully Mark's sort of tentative strategy has helped out a bit there. Good luck with the double game week. It's a weird split game week, but we'll be back next week ahead of game week 26. I think it's going to be.
Enjoy your second David Moyes experience this week.
Oh, it's Moyes-ageddon.
Moyes are getting no points this week.
Yeah, it could be. I hope not. Just one will do me. But thanks a lot for your time. Take care. See you soon.
Bye-bye.